What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Behind the Arc Basketball on YouTube. I have another top 10 video for everybody today. This video will be about the top 10 most frequently used mascots in college basketball. Now, before we begin this video, the criteria for a mascot that can count is anything that contains the word of the mascot in it. For example, I counted the mascot, the Hawks, the Seahawks, and the Redhawks, all part of one big category as the Hawks because they technically all are Hawks. Same goes for the Eagles and Golden Eagles. I grouped both of these into the Eagle mascot category. Now, currently, there are 351 teams total in Division I men's college basketball. Teams which have the mascot, the Wildcats, have won the most national titles combined from their nickname. 12 national titles won by teams with the Wildcats. 8 titles have been won by the Kentucky Wildcats, 3 by the Villanova Wildcats, and 1 national title won by the Arizona Wildcats. 11 total titles has been won by the UCLA Bruins. That still is the most today that any college basketball program has won. The third mascot with the most titles is the North Carolina Tar Heels with 6 national titles. Now also, the highest amount of teams that play in the same conference with the same mascot nickname happens to be 3. The most mascots by conference here, the Tigers. There's 3 teams in the SEC with Tigers, the Auburn Tigers, the LSU Tigers, and the Missouri Tigers. There's also 3 teams in the Southwestern Athletic Conference with Tigers, the Texas Southern Tigers, the Jackson State Tigers, and the Grambling Tigers. And in the Atlantic 10, there's 3 teams with a mascot, the Rams, the Rhode Island Rams, the VCU Rams, and the Fordham Rams. But now it's time to officially begin this top 10 list here for the most frequently used mascots in college basketball. And starting it out at number 10 is a 3-way tie between the Aggies, the Spartans, and the Huskies. All have 5 total teams for each mascot. We'll start off with the Aggies first, as they have Texas A&M, Utah State, New Mexico State, UC Davis, and North Carolina A&T. Now moving on to the Spartans with their 5 teams. Michigan State, the biggest team of them all. 2 national titles won by Michigan State. The last one was in 2000. UNC Greensboro Spartans on this list too, same as San Jose State, Norfolk State, and South Carolina Upstate, which has been Division I since 2007. And we'll move on to the Huskies here. 5 total teams with the Huskies mascot, the Uconn Huskies being the biggest one on this list here. 4 national titles won by Uconn, then the Washington Huskies, Northern Illinois, Northeastern, and the Houston Baptist Huskies, which have been Division I from 1973 to 1989, and then they went down, and then they went back up to Division I, which they've been Division I again since 2008. Now moving on to this list with number 9 and number 8, as we have a tie once again with a total of 6 per piece for both of these mascots, the Lions and the Cougars. We'll start off at number 9 with the Lions, and I put in any type of lion here on the list, so the Penn State Nittany Lions makes this list under Lions, the only power conference team in college basketball for the Lions, as the other ones are all mid-majors. The North Alabama Lions, Loyola Marymount, Columbia, Southeast Louisiana, and the Arkansas Pine Bluff Golden Lions. Now for the Cougars, there's 6 total teams here under the mascot, the Cougars, the Houston Cougars, the BYU Cougars, the Washington State Cougars, Charleston, and the Southern Illinois University of Edwardsville Cougars, which has been Division I since 2008, and also this team, which has been Division I since 1984, but they've never made the tournament. That happens to be the Chicago State Cougars. Now moving on to number 7 on this list is the Panthers with 8 total teams under the mascot, the Panthers. The biggest one, the only power conference program here, is the Pittsburgh Panthers, and then the Northern Iowa Panthers, Florida International, Eastern Illinois, Milwaukee, Georgia State, Prairie View A&M, and the High Point Panthers. Moving to number 6 on this list is the Bears with 9 total teams under the mascot, the Bears, and I took any type of bear here on the list. As we'll start that off with the Baylor Bears, then the California Golden Bears, the Missouri State Bears, the Maine Black Bears, the Brown Bears, the Northern Colorado Bears, the Morgan State Bears, Mercer, and the Central Arkansas Bears, which have been Division I since 2006. Moving on to this list to number 5 here, with 10 total teams, happens to be the Wildcats with their mascot, and the Kentucky Wildcats, the biggest program of them all, with 8 national titles that they've won. Villanova with 3, and then Arizona with 1 national title. And behind those 3 teams happen to be the Kansas State Wildcats, Northwestern, Davidson, the New Hampshire Wildcats, Weber State, Bethune-Cookman, and Abilene Christian. Number 4 on this list is the Tigers, with 12 teams repping the Tigers in college basketball. There were 13 teams total until the end of this past season, when the Savannah State Tigers dropped down from Division I to now Division II. So Savannah State will be Division II for the upcoming 2019-2020 college basketball season. So now the Tigers went from 13 to 12 on the list. As the biggest ones here: the Clemson Tigers, the Auburn Tigers, the LSU Tigers, Missouri, Memphis, Princeton, Towson, the Tennessee State Tigers, Texas Southern, Jackson State, Grambling, and the Pacific Tigers, all on this list for mascots under Tigers. And here we are with number 3 on the list, and we have a big tie for number 3, number 2, and number 1, all tied with 15 total team mascots: the Hawks, the Eagles, and the Bulldogs. We'll do this starting at number 3 is the Hawks, as counting the suffix Hawks at the end connected to its prefix. So I counted that, and there's 7 teams that end in only Hawks that's not connected to the beginning part of the word. So there's 3 other teams that happen to be Redhawks, 2 teams that's Seahawks, 1 Jayhawks, 1 Skyhawks, and 1 Warhawks. So a bunch of Hawks here. There's 15 total on this list at number 3. The Kansas Jayhawks, the biggest one, of course. 3 national titles won by Kansas. Then St. Joseph's, the Hartford Hawks, the Monmouth Hawks, Maryland Eastern Shore, the UMass Lowell River Hawks, the Lehigh Mountain Hawks, the North Dakota Fighting Hawks, the UNC Wilmington Seahawks, the Wagner Seahawks, the Tennessee Martin Skyhawks, the Miami of Ohio Redhawks, the Southeast Missouri State Redhawks, the Seattle Redhawks, and the Louisiana Monroe Warhawks. So a bunch of Hawks there on the list. 15 total combined, as we have 15 total from number 2 as well. And that happens to be the Eagles. 10 of these happen to be Eagles alone. 4 are Golden Eagles, and one of these teams goes by the mascot, the Purple Eagles. We'll start off with all the Eagles first. The Boston College Eagles, Florida Gulf Coast, Georgia Southern, Eastern Washington, Winthrop, Eastern Michigan, North Carolina Central, Coppin State, Morehead State, the American Eagles. And now moving on to the Golden Eagles, we have the Marquette Golden Eagles, Southern Miss Golden Eagles, the Oral Roberts Golden Eagles, the Tennessee Tech Golden Eagles, and the Niagara Purple Eagles. And number 1 on this list, with 15 true total nicknames to its name, all of them happen to be Bulldogs, as this is the most teams total that the mascots have in college basketball with a true nickname without putting that prefix like golden or red in front of it to make the Bulldogs. And all of these teams right here, all 15, are Bulldogs. So we'll do it here with the Bulldogs. Number 1 on the list, the Gonzaga Bulldogs, the Georgia Bulldogs, Mississippi State, Butler, Fresno State, Louisiana Tech, Yale, Gardner-Webb, UNC Asheville, Drake, the Citadel, Samford, South Carolina State, Alabama A&M, and wrapping up the Bulldogs list is the Bryant Bulldogs from Rhode Island, which has been Division I since 2008. So that is a wrap here to my video, the most frequently used mascots in all college basketball on this list. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching this video. Make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more content like this throughout the off-season. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching, and this has been a presentation of Behind the Arc Basketball on YouTube, the top 10 most frequently used mascots in college basketball.